Our today's topic is how to give an effective evaluation. A lot of different Toastmasters have helped me to learn about evaluations. Some of them are Solarzar, Kate, Stewart Murray, and our own club director, Pavan Datla. So it's a culmination of all the learnings I've had so far in my Toastmaster years. I'm going to share a lot of things with you, but here is the main agenda. First of all, we'll start with why. Why do you want to do an evaluation? The second thing is, what are we evaluating? We need to understand what we are evaluating. The third thing is the magic of I statements. Fourth, what should be the structure of an evaluation be? And what is the system we should be using to take down the notes? How to give an effective feedback rather than an opinion. The effect of superlatives, I will discuss how much information superlatives gives to the speaker. How to do an evaluation prep for a contest or for our regular meetings. The things you have to remember while delivering your evaluation. How to practice your evaluations by using YouTube. And finally, questions. I want this to be an interactive session, so ask any questions at any moments of time. I would love your questions. I'm going to share a lot of information, but I want to share three main takeaways. I want to use the I statements while doing an evaluation. The I statements are, I saw, I heard, I felt. Whenever giving a feedback, always remember to add a why as well as example to it. If you don't add a why or example, it becomes an opinion and it's not at all useful to the speaker. Finally, superlatives. Superlatives do not give any information to the speaker. So if you can, try to avoid superlatives like great, wonderful, amazing. My question to you is, why do you want to do an evaluation? Can you share your answer? Yes, Alma, you are muted. Why do you want to do an evaluation?
To let my other Toastmasters improve?
Yes, that is one of the things. You want to motivate them to take their speech to the next level. You also want to tell them what things they did effectively. Sometimes we don't know what things we do effectively. What to evaluate? Remember one thing, we are not evaluating the speaker. If you don't like the speaker, focus only on the speech, not the speaker. Don't worry about how they are dressed up or how they are. Only evaluate their speech content, speech delivery, and finally, the overall presentation, which includes both the content as well as the delivery. There are many things to evaluate. These are some of the examples. This is not a comprehensive list. I just put down whatever could come in my one slide. So we can make a comprehensive list of things what we are going to evaluate. This is just a starting point for you. The magic of I statements. Remember, observation, not evaluation or not judgment, is the greatest form of human intelligence. So always remember, when we are doing an evaluation, we are observing the speaker. And the three words will help you to observe are I feel, I heard, I saw. So remember, the only way to observe is to use the words I feel, I heard, I saw. I'm going to share these slide decks with you so you don't need to take notes. So I'm going to send it to Derek so he will send this to everyone. So as I told you, I got this slide from Stuart Murray. I really liked how he put it into 4 blocks. The first thing is observation. The observation, as I told you before, it has I heard, I felt, I saw, or I noticed. Is there something really you liked? You can use the words, I really loved it. I really enjoyed in your speech. I really liked this. So remember that. If something was detracting or confusing you, then you use the word, I was confused about this. I, I disliked the props which you used. I didn't understand the plot. Finally, when you have to give the 3 things for the speaker to make their speech more effective, you can say, I wanted to see, I love to hear more vocal variety. I would like to know what happened to the plot at the end. Structure. There should be 3 parts in the evaluation. The first part is introduction. The introduction should always contain, when I give the introduction, I always try to do 2 things in the introduction. The first thing is, I really want to thank the speaker for giving the speech. Because not everyone can give the speech. That is the first thing. The second thing which I like to include in the introduction is how that speech landed on me, on my heart. How did I connect with it? Because that helps the speaker to understand what was the reaction of his speech on me. The second thing is the body and the conclusion. I'll go into more details of the body and the conclusion in the next few slides. When a speaker is giving a speech, we have to take the notes down. We need to have an efficient way of taking the notes. Everyone has come up with different ways. I used to have 2 ways of doing positives and negatives for writing things, what they did effectively, and for the things they could do more effectively. But from Stuart Murray, I learned about 2 more things. I learned about the question mark. When you write the question mark, it's very easy to write one word and see what was confusing about the speech to you. And then there's another thing, the star. What was something really important or insightful the person shared in their speech? This really helps to take the notes because during an evaluation contest, we only have 5 minutes to prepare our notes. So this way, if you do it, it makes it very efficient. Body. The body of the speech. Mostly in the body of the speech, if I'm in an evaluation contest, I like to share 3 things the speaker did effectively. 3 things the speaker did effectively. I also like to mention the 3 things the speaker could do to make their speech more effective. Look at the words I'm using. I'm not using the word improvement. I'm trying to use the word make their speech more effective and take it to the next level. Here is an example of the evaluation I gave to someone last week. He gave a wonderful speech. Say I'm using that word wonderful. It does not tell the speaker what they did but so what the speaker did was, this was his second speech, and I was amazed by his flawless delivery. There was no repetitions in there. So that really stood out for me. The plot was such that I felt that I was totally engrossed in it. He also used the word grit many times. It impacted me. It really helped me to understand his messaging. The things he could do more effectively, he had a very monotone voice. Because of that, sometimes I was losing that connection. If he had, if he can have the highs and the lows, that can help me to really have a really flawless attention to his speech. He was a new speaker, so he didn't have much expressions or emotions on his face. So if you could connect with what he was saying, that would help me to connect with him better. Finally, at the end, he had a strong story, but he never had a call to action. A call to action would have helped us to take the message home. Conclusion. One thing about the conclusion, remember to always end it on a positive note. Our goal is to motivate the speaker. What I do in a conclusion is I will summarize by, by having the first three summary of the three things the speaker could do to make the speech more effective. And then I will have the three things the speaker did effectively. So I'm ending on a positive note. And sometimes, if there is something that really stood out for me, I will mention that at the very end of the speech. Feedback. Remember, feedback contains an opinion with a why. Okay? If it's just an opinion and there is no why, it's no use for the speaker. So make sure whenever you give a feedback, always have a why attached to it. For example, the other day, one of my fellow Toastmasters gave a speech. He asked a question, but he never paused after that. Since he never paused after that, I could not answer the question. So if he had paused, then it would have helped me to really connect with him and give my feedback to him. Always give an example with your feedback. That really helps the speaker to really understand the precise thing he needs to do. So I told my fellow Toastmaster, if you would have stopped, you would have gotten more audience engagement from us so that we could connect with the speech. So always take a pause and then you can proceed. Superlatives. One of my fellow Toastmaster gave an evaluation. I was a grammarian that day. I took the note down how many times she said great and how many times she said amazing. She said great 8 times. She said amazing 5 times. Those words do not help the speaker. So we have to use the words which really help the speaker. If you use superlatives, sometimes you are being lazy and not trying to use the right language to help the speaker. So make sure, if you can, avoid the superlatives. If you are preparing for an evaluation for a regular meeting, make sure the speaker gets you the information of the speech at least 2 days before the speech. It really helps for you to prepare for the evaluation. You need to get the evaluation form from the speaker. Once you get the evaluation form, you can study what it is about. You can also connect with the speaker if there is anything specifically they are looking at in the speech. What are the objectives of the speech? We need to understand that. Once the speech is done, make sure you fill that form and send it to the speaker, because it's very useful for the speaker to go back and see what things they did effectively and what things they could do to make their speech more effective. If you're participating in an evaluation contest, you need to know what is the judging criteria. There are 4 criteria for judging. The one thing is the analytical quality. Analytical quality means what are the strengths and the weaknesses of the speaker. You need to write it down and you need to mention those during your evaluation. What are the recommendations for the speaker to make their speech more effective? It has 30%. Summary of your evaluation has 15%. The way you deliver it has only 15%. So here is the judging criteria in detail. When you're delivering your evaluation, you need to remember these things. The first thing, be very specific and to the point. You should, when I'm giving an evaluation, I try to mention the precise example where it happens in their speech. That really helps the speaker out. Always remember to speak for yourself. We are not a judge. We are just observing. So we use the word, I saw, I felt, I heard. Don't be afraid. Be very sincere. If the person has not done his preparation, you need to mention that, but in a kind way. You can say, oh, if you had prepared the speech, then you would not have had these many pauses. So be very kind and compassionate, but be very honest with what you felt. If someone is giving an icebreaker, don't try to give them 6 ways to make the speech more effective. If they are giving an icebreaker, it's always good to give only one way for them to make their speech more effective. In the subsequent speeches, you can give them more criteria. Always emphasize how the speaker affected you in your introduction. It really helps them to connect with you as well as really understand how their speech impacted us. Remember, you're always evaluating the speech, not the person. So just pay attention to their speech. Listen. The best way to practice evaluations is going to the YouTube. There are so many Toastmaster speeches. You can start practicing by doing an evaluation for each and every speech. With time, you will get better and better. You don't have to go to the you don't have to be an evaluator every time. If you can, that's always a good way. But if not, you always have an option of practicing it on YouTube. Finally, remember the 3 main takeaways. The I statements. The I statements really help the speaker. Since you are not a judge, you are just observing. So remember, I saw, I heard, I felt. Always give the feedback with a why and an example. That really helps the speaker understand exactly what they need to do. Finally, avoid the use of superlatives. They don't give much information to the speaker. Questions? Any questions from anyone?
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, if you have any questions for Toastmasters Joshi at the moment, now is a wonderful time to unmute your mic and to ask him. He's completed his presentation and you can benefit from his one-on-one responses.
Abhijeet, I have a question.
Yes.
How do we give a negative feedback but still not make him feel bad, the speaker? For example, lack of preparation.
Yep.
That might hurt him. So how do you handle that?
Like one thing I would say is, if you had prepared really well, then you would not have pauses, that many pauses in your speech. Or you can say directly, with good preparation, this will help you to eliminate these pauses. You can always phrase it in a very compassionate way that really lands well and helps the speaker also.
Question.
Yes, Andrew.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
And how do you tell if you don't know? For example, you did not like the structure, but you don't have a really way of explaining how can you improve the structure, speech structure. So is it better not to give that feedback, or is it say, I just did not like the structure, but I don't know how to improve? How do you handle that situation?
In that case, don't do it in the evaluation, because you only have 2 to 3 minutes. So that in 2 to 3 minutes, you can only give so much information. After the speech, get hold of them and talk to them, discuss it with them. Sometimes that one-on-one really helps.
Good evening. Question. You can hear me? Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Your volume is a little low, Toastmaster Lightborn. If you could speak a little louder for us, please.
Okay, my question is, I understand the benefit of giving the evaluation for the speaker. Me, I've never evaluated before. What is the benefit for me to do to be an evaluator?
So I'll tell you. So when you become an evaluator, you will learn about what mistakes you are doing while speaking. So the more you evaluate, the more you learn about yourself, how to give your speech effectively. That is the biggest benefit of doing evaluation. So don't wait, start evaluating, because you will learn about your speech and you will become a more effective speaker.
Great answer. Question. I'm preparing for a speech contest, and I see a lot of folk Toastmasters now come with some advanced like ideas or quotes that they plan to use in responding when they're called upon. Hopefully it fits in with it. What are your suggestions to a contestant, evaluation contestant, in regard to preparing yourself to be an evaluator at a speech contest? I understand what you went through the tips, but how do you prepare? What are your suggestions for preparation to be an evaluator?
Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to YouTube, because there are so many different speeches. Any speech you can take and start evaluating that. Time yourself. You only have 5 minutes. Time yourself for 5 minutes and then give that evaluation. Do that for like at least 10, 15 speeches. Then you will see a growth in yourself. Remember, it's always give yourself 5 minutes, because in the contest you have 5 minutes after the speech is over if you are the first contestants, and YouTube is the best way to prepare for a contest.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, amazing presentation. My question would be, now that we are meeting virtually, what suggestions or critiques would you suggest giving persons when we're evaluating them for audience awareness?
So one thing I would say is that maintain your eye contact with the lens. When I'm giving an evaluation, or if the speaker is giving an evaluation, means if the speaker is speaking, how is their eye contact? If they're looking away from the camera, then you don't feel connected to them. So you want to make sure the speaker maintains the eye contact and occasionally glances on the screen how their participants are doing. So mostly they need to be focusing more on the lens. I think that's the best way we can tell if there is an audience awareness, because they need to connect with us. And the only way to connect is maintaining that eye contact.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, as an evaluator, whether it's in a regular club meeting or in a speech competition, let's say that the speech that you are evaluating was so good in your opinion, or it was so moving, you felt that the content, delivery, the language were all clear, succinct, or excellent. You really enjoyed the speech and you don't have any cautions or improvements or nuggets of improvement for the speaker. Whether it's in the club meeting or at the speech competition, is it okay to say I have no cautions for you, or should the evaluator do whatever he or she can to find a nugget of improvement?
Remember, in evaluation contest, 30% of the points are for recommendations to improve or recommendations to make your speech more effective. So you are losing that 30% if you don't give them any ways to improve or take their speech to the next level. So always look for something. There is always something. No one can be perfect in their speech. There's always something you can look for. Because if you don't say it, especially in the contest, then you're going to lose that 30%. So I would always suggest look for something, because you will find something. During the regular meetings, then you can tell like, oh, wow, I was not able to find anything to improve. It's okay during the regular meetings, but not in a contest.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. Say evaluation is not something that you are strong in or comfortable, because I find that some people are a knack in speaking in certain areas, like in terms of they're good in speaking in evaluation, or in terms of international speech, or it's natural, it comes off natural for them. For someone like me, who this is not a knack or easy or natural, how often should one practice evaluating so that they can improve their skills? How often should I practice in order to become it, until it becomes like it's like air you breathe, it's normal for you to do it?
Practice once every week. If you want, join another club and practice it twice a week. Because the more evaluations you do, me too. When I started, I could not evaluate. My evaluations would only last 1 minute, 30 seconds. Minimum evaluation is 2 minutes. I didn't know what to use the structure. I had no clue. But remember, everyone, doesn't matter how beginner are, they have some ideas that can help you to make your speech effective. So with you, I would suggest is just practice. Whenever there is an evaluator slot, sign up for it. And we all start at the same level. It's the practice which takes us to the next level. Any other questions?
Abhijeet, I had this problem with evaluations.
Yes.
What if I unconsciously find more improvements and very few good things about a speech? How can I find more good things from a speech? Like,
so there are so many things happen in the speech. Like suppose if there is someone giving a speech and you realize they have not prepared well, you can always say, oh yeah, your slides were really helpful for me to see what you are trying to say. There is always something. You can at least minimum things that you need to find 3 things they did effectively. 3 things should be easier to find. And if you find 6 things they could do to take their speech to the next level, just tell 3 things during the evaluation. But after the meeting is over, connect with them and tell them, oh, these are other things that it can help them to take their speech to the next level. Remember, you only need to find 3 things for them, for 3 things they did to make their speech effective.
All right, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. Oh, go ahead.